What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. It looks like Kawhi Leonard is on his off-season grind. It looks like Kawhi Leonard is definitely ready to make that return. It looks like Kawhi Leonard is definitely ready to come back and make a splash going into next season. And everybody knows that this is one of the top 5 players in the league. And he's the best player in the league, if you ask me. And, he's always been up there and he always will be as long as he can stay healthy and, be in his, top form. And, I was looking at Twitter, I was looking at Twitter, I was actually reading some about, how he's even, doing full participants, in practice in regards to, 5-on-5s and everything. And just looking at his pictures, he's looking a little bit stronger. He looks a little bit beefier than what he did, about a year ago. I think he's adding a little bit of muscle, with his, just trying to get his strength back and everything. Honestly, looking at his arms, his legs and it's just his strength, his strength overall is definitely coming back to natural form the way it was. And like I said, it looks like he's a little bit stronger than he was before, but with all that said, we got to see how how he does in the regular season or when the season comes back, because it's been a while since he played basketball. He's got to get his rhythm back and, he's got to get that rhythm and that confidence back. And I definitely know he will because Kawhi is just that type of player. Kawhi is definitely not a loquacious or sensitive type person. He's definitely one of those type guys who goes after and attacks whatever he wants and whatever he's trying to go after. And he's always been that way. And I definitely respect him. The one time I actually, saw Kawhi Leonard like up close or whatever. And he looked a lot bigger in person, than he does on TV, actually, So he's definitely a strong guy, inside and out. And I don't think that could really be questioned by anybody, because he's definitely shown that through situations, adversity, and all that by finding a way to come through. And, it's going to be a great thing for the Clippers if they can stay healthy because, their team is just so stacked and they got so many good weapons and they got so many good pieces that I feel like their depth overall is going to make them a great team. And Kawhi might not even have to do as much as he had to do previous years. Whereas, coming into this year, he might actually only have to score, because most, I'd say, 3 or 4 out of the last 5 seasons, he was averaging somewhere around 27, 28 points a game. If he chose to, with this team the way they are, he can average about 25, 26 points a game and still be effective. And this team could still possibly have the number 1 seed in the NBA. They could pretty much mimic what the Phoenix Suns did this past year. I really believe they're that good of a team, and I believe they have that much depth to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do, come out with that mindset. They want to take the world by storm and let everybody in the NBA know they're the number 1 team for a reason. And they're, the best team in the league for a reason. And I think that's what the mindset is of the Clippers. And I hope that they keep that mindset. And I hope that, they're able to stay healthy and fulfill that. Even though the ultimate goal at hand always is to win a championship, and definitely for them is to win a championship simply because, they've been together the last 4 years and unfortunately it just hasn't happened due to injury and other things. But, I feel like this is the year for the Clippers. Everybody else is, had their time, had their go round, but I feel like it's the Clippers go round, and as I said before, I stand by my words by saying bare minimum, the Clippers need to make the finals. They really do because, in order for this operation to be looked at as a successful one, you got to at least, make it that far with all this talent that you have. And, it's no excuses for this team. And, one thing I know, Kawhi Leonard knows that. Kawhi Leonard believes that. It's no excuses. You got to go out there and make it work. You got to go out there and make it happen. And you can't, have any regrets, and you got to leave it all out there on the floor. And that's just the way the Clippers should think and should play this year. And I feel like that's the part of the motivation that Kawhi Leonard has, and he's going to implement on the guys. When you go out there, have fun, but leave it all on the floor and be the best you can be. And that's exactly what Kawhi Leonard is every time we watch him play throughout his career up until this point. And I believe going forward, you'll see the same thing. And it's definitely great to see him, participating more, in more practice activities and, training and getting himself right. And, to be quite honest, even though the Clippers lost to the Pelicans in the play-in tournament, really it might have been a blessing in disguise, which a lot of people may not look at it that way, but it really probably was, because it gave Kawhi Leonard more time to rest himself and get healed and come back and play at a higher level, rather than, the playoffs still going on, the Clippers and everybody having all these storylines about, when Kawhi Leonard's coming back and all that type stuff. I definitely think it could have, interrupted their process in regards to trying to win and everything. And I definitely think that, the distraction of all that can throw a team's momentum off at times. So, really, when you think about it, as I said before, it could be a blessing in disguise that, the Clippers did go out, so Kawhi Leonard can get more rest and be ready to go. And you don't have to rush him back on a need that, that needs more healing, basically. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely believe he was going to try to come back because, like I said, he was just so eager to try to, do 3-on-3s, 4-on-4s, things like that. But at the same time, when you're nursing a ACL or any type of ACL injury, you want all the rest and all the proper nutrients. You want all the proper workouts and everything you need before you actually go out on the floor. You got to take your time with injuries like that, because a lot of those type of injuries are long lasting, affecting injuries. So you definitely want to take your time and come back and be the best player you can be. And you got to understand that, as great as Kawhi Leonard is, you don't want to see, him re-aggravate the injury or anything like that. So, with him getting more rest and having more time to heal and more time to prepare going into next season, it really was a good thing, to a degree for the Clippers. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, I'd definitely rather see the Clippers be playing now still, because I think, Kawhi Leonard possibly would have made a comeback, if he could. And I definitely think this team, if they had Paul George, I think they could have, did a little something in the playoffs. I don't think they would have won a championship, of course, but at the same time, they would have made it further than what they did. Shout out to him too. Hopefully, everything is good with him. I hate to hear that he had COVID, at the time, when they were playing the Pelicans, because it really was a shock to the NBA world, and it really was a step back for the Clippers. Even though they did put up a good fight, and really they had the game won. To a degree, they was up by double digits, I think, with 6 or 7 minutes to go in the game. They just couldn't close it out. And that's just the type of things that happen at times, when you don't have your main players, and that's something that hurt the Clippers throughout the season. And hopefully they don't have to go through that again, because going through next season, hopefully they can make it through, and put themselves in better position to win. So, I definitely hope that the Clippers, stay healthy next year. I hope Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, because I think Kawhi is due for, one of those big breakout seasons if he chooses to. Now, I know Kawhi Leonard likes to do the load managing, and I know that it's definitely warranted now because, of the ACL injury that he had. And my main thing is I want him to be ready to go for the playoffs. Because to me, he's the best playoff performer out there. He's the best playoff performer in the NBA, if you ask me. So I definitely want him to be ready to go for the playoffs. But, I always said if Kawhi Leonard really if he really wanted to win the MVP of the league, he could have done it years ago. He could have done it with the Spurs. Actually, he could have done it the same year with the Toronto Raptors if he didn't load manage, because his team had the best record, or one of the best records, or I think the second best record in the league at that time, right behind the Milwaukee Bucks and or the Warriors going into that season. So, he definitely had a chance then, but I really never thought that he was focused on that. He always focused on winning championships, because, he comes from the Popovich era, and Greg Popovich and the Spurs always preach championships. They don't preach MVPs. If you happen to get one, that's great, but championship is our ultimate destination, and that's our ultimate goal. And I think, Kawhi definitely adopted that, because that's where he was born at, in San Antonio, basically, in his NBA life. He was born there, and, he grew into that type of player. And I think a lot of people disrespect him for the load managing, but they don't understand the ethics that come behind it. He may load manage, but when he goes into the playoffs, he's the best playoff performer we ever seen. The guy's got the best playoff winning percentage probably of all time, or second to Magic Johnson. So, that tells you what type of player he is and what type of, caliber type play that he brings every time he steps on the floor. And he definitely brings it when it counts the most, and usually he always is money. Usually he always comes up, to be the player on top top. And, you know, he plays the best of his ability at all times, anytime the playoffs start. So, I mean, you definitely got to give him credit there. And I definitely want to see more of that this season. I mean, going into next season, because you're going to see great gameplay from Kawhi Leonard, but at the same time, you're going to see him reserve some of that for the playoffs. And I definitely can't wait to see him in playoff form again, because I know we're going to get a special performance as always. And Kawhi is just, you know, one of a kind type player. Reason why I say he's the best player in the league, simply because I don't see one player in the league right now really that can do what he does. He can play both ends of the floor. 99% of the players you see only play one side of the floor. And if they do play defense, they can't score 30 points a game the way Kawhi Leonard can and affect the game the way he can on both ends and be a dominant player. And he's not even like a center or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, Kawhi definitely deserves his flowers with that. But this team is definitely going to be stacked and really, really ready to go going into next season. And Kawhi's motivation and them watching him work and his work ethic is really going to put them over the top, I believe. I definitely see them being, you know, a top 3, top 5 seed, of course, in the West. I personally think they can be the number 1 seed in the West, in the NBA, actually, if they really chose to, you know. So I really hope that they blast off next season. I hope that Kawhi comes back and shows everybody the reason why, you know, he definitely should be looked at as a top 5 player or better, simply because of his skill set and his attributes and his mindset, which is to dominate and go out there and be a dog on both ends of the floor. And I feel like that level of confidence and dominance is still in Kawhi, and I think we'll see it next year. And I definitely can't wait to see how it pans out for him and the rest of the Clippers, because I think they have an opportunity to do something really special, and I hope it actually comes true for them. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't already. And hey, Cali out.